Hey there, this is your pal Pally, and welcome back to Git Er Raid. Bugs, bugs, and more bugs. Call the Orkin Man. What we have here is the Paragons of the Klaxxi encounter. This council-style encounter has you fighting 3 Paragons at the same time, and each one has individual mechanics to deal with, of course. It is definitely a 2-tank fight, and 2 to 3 healable for sure. Get ready for a longish guide here, as there are a lot of abilities to explain for each of the 9 Paragons. For general mechanics, the biggest thing to explain is just that pre-pull, 3 of the Paragons are marked with this Ready to Fight buff, and those are going to be the first 3 Paragons to come in. After that, one of the remaining 6 Paragons will be marked the same way to let you know who's coming next after you defeat one of their buddies. Oh, and when you defeat a Paragon, all of the remaining active ones will heal to full and gain a stacking 10% damage bonus, so cleaving usually won't matter here. One interesting twist is that once you defeat a Paragon, you can click on their dead body to get a role-specific buff. I'll mention what buff each Paragon gives when I go through each one in a second. I'm not going to even try pronouncing their names, but just refer to them with the last part of their name. The order of the Paragons doesn't seem to change week to week, at least it didn't in normal mode, so you won't have to rework strategy every week. The order starts with Bloodseeker, Swarmkeeper, and Dissector all up first. After that, each time you kill one Paragon, the next one jumps down. That order has Locust hopping down next, then Prime, Lucid, Poison Mind, Manipulator, and finally Reaver. So, we'll go through each Paragon in turn and describe their mechanics and what buff they can bestow upon your raid when they die. Beyond that, we'll talk about the strategy we took, but realize there could be better ones for your raid group because it can be vastly different depending on what order you kill them in. Bloodseeker and Dissector interact with each other in a certain way, so let me talk about that first. They put debuffs on tanks that make them more vulnerable to the other one. So yeah, make sure tanks only tank their guy, and don't try to have them hold both Bloodseeker and Dissector, or else they are going to have a bad day. Beyond that, Bloodseeker is pretty simple. He will spawn 2 blood adds that just need to be killed quickly, or else they will head to a Paragon and heal it up. Kill them quick, as they spawn all around the room. The blood adds can be slowed and stunned, which you should try to do as much as possible. Timing-wise, you may even want to let a set come out and get to the Paragon, because you may need to finish off one, and the remaining Paragons heal to full at that point anyway. Grabbing the Bloodseeker buff is kind of like the Bloods, only it's the players that can spawn Bloods, and if another player walks through them, they get healed. So, extra monk orbs for the win. Dissector is also fairly simple. He will inject players with a virus, and once they get 10 stacks, they erupt in parasites. These guys will feed on players until killed, and regenerate their entire health pool every 10 seconds or so. We chose to kill this guy first, so you don't see any parasites out, but they did get annoying really quickly, as you had to focus them down within a small window, and everyone was just running around with their heads cut off, so we chose to bypass this by just killing him quickly. Because we killed him quickly as well, I can't show you his other major ability, which is to turn a raid member into an Amber Scorpion. That's really all it is. The person is able to do some different abilities, and will take 50k damage per second. If you pick it up, his buff will let a DPSer turn into a giant Amber Scorpion when they want to. It looks kick-ass, and presumably ups the damage of the DPSer, and it lasts for about 30 seconds. Swarmkeeper is the last Paragon to talk about from the initial spawn group. He doesn't need to be tanked, as he will simply shoot around at people. The main ability is called Aim. He will select someone at random, root them, knock them back till they are 45 yards away, and then fire a powerful shot between himself and the target. If anyone gets hit by the shot, they make a field of sonic resonance that will do some damage. But you need to actually get hit by the shot Otherwise, it will likely kill the person it is fixated on. If you are within the line when it goes off, you share the damage. The real trick here is that you can't just stack up all together somewhere along the line. If you do that, you kill each other with the sonic resonance fields. So, you need to actually go back to grade school here and form a straight line with your raid. Yes, really, that's how it works. If you do that, you'll share the damage of the shot, and your resonance fields will harmlessly shoot off to the side. You probably need at least 5 or 6 people to respond to this mechanic in order to keep the damage low. His buff allows you to do a power shot type thing where you shoot a shot at the boss. It does more damage the further you are away, and if it hits, it increases damage taken by the target by 15% for 10 seconds. Just back up and let it loose. Locust is really kind of annoying. He will throw amber down on enemies, which are just big puddles to move out of. That's not the annoying part. The crappy thing is when he charges around the room. If you get caught in his path or hit with it, you start whirling, which does a crap ton of damage to you and stuns you for 5 seconds. And if anyone is near you, they will also twirl around and likely die. Just don't get hit and stay spread out so you don't inflict this on anyone else accidentally. Locust's buff when you kill him is actually kind of interesting. You get to jump up to the platforms and you can throw down amber just like the boss did and do a crap ton to the other active Paragons. One note, this is also one of the ways to break the amber shell from Prime. We never successfully did this, but just a side note for the future. Let's take a look at Prime as he is next to spawn. He's really annoying to your tanks. He will rear back and shield bash his tank, which stuns them, and then unleashes a vicious assault, which does a crap ton of damage for the next 6 seconds while the tank is stunned. Prime is also a unique Paragon in that he will interact with the others in a very annoying way. Whenever he or any of the other active Paragons get below 50% health, he will encase them in amber. If you don't kill off that amber shell quickly, it will heal the Paragon to full, thus wasting all of your DPS. In normal mode, you have to be super fast to switch to the amber and kill it off. As I just noted a minute ago, it can also be broken by throwing down amber with the Locust buff. But we handled it in neither way, which I think is actually the way you have to handle it for heroic mode. We would get both Prime and another Paragon close to 50% health, then we would push that other Paragon below 50%, and as soon as Prime put the shell on that Paragon, we'd target switch and nail Prime. When you kill off Prime, he will give the tank an ability to immune damage for 5 seconds. That's useful. Lucid is kind of complex. For the sake of time, I'm gonna basically just say that his main ability creates fire lines between a bunch of raid members. There are ways to determine who it is, but the bottom line is, try to spread out when this goes out, and don't step on the lines. The further away people are, the less damage this ability does. Other than that, he casts Diminish on a regular basis, which knocks down someone's health instantly by a significant chunk. Make sure no one is really low, or this can kill someone outright. The Lucid buff is for healers, and basically copies heals to other raid members. Not too shabby. Poisoned Mine injects players with a toxin, either red, blue, or yellow. Then, periodically, he'll activate a catalyst. It will do different things if you have the color of the catalyst that got activated. Red means spread away from other players. Blue, you need to stack with another player on top of you to split the damage. Yellow just creates a cloud to move away from. Basically, if you have red or blue, pay attention. You need to watch out if yours gets activated. His buff when you kill him allows your healers to put a living seed-like heal on someone. It stores up heals and then releases the stored healing once the target gets damaged. Wind Reaver and Poison Mine interact a little bit just like Dissector and Bloodseeker. Each one will apply a debuff to their current tank that makes the other boss do more damage if the tank somehow starts tanking the other Paragon. Reaver does a similar attack to Prime in that he gouges the tank to stun him, and then does a massive attack in Mutilate. Lastly, he will jump up in the air and land on an area and do a big chunk of damage, so just don't get hit with that. Similarly, his buff allows you to leap on bosses and do a bunch of extra damage as a DPSer. Manipulator adds some mobs to the raid, namely Kunchongs. These guys will focus whomever the Manipulator mesmerizes, and if they don't take 30% damage before the person reaches the Kunchong, it will devour them, killing them instantly. If that happens, or the mob reaches 100 energy, it will molt, and will attack players with a big swipe that hurts a lot. You just have to make sure to immediately switch over to that ad and break the mesmerize. You can also life grip the person away if they are getting close. The other mechanic for Manipulator is that he will send out a sonic wave. Just step away from it. His special buff is that he allows a DPSer to take control of their own Kunchong to smack around the bosses. Fun! Whew, that's a lot of bosses and a lot of boss abilities. You don't have to know everything about them, but you do have to know the deadly abilities and how to respond to them. Strategy-wise, you may have to change things up for your group. So we immediately killed Dissector with Lust Popped, so we never had to deal with parasites running around. At that point, we left Bloodseeker and Swarmkeeper up for a few more Paragons, thus we all had to be aware of aim, and all had to pay attention to blood spawning. So after Dissector died, we killed the next two Paragons that came out. Those would be Locust and Prime. As I described in the Prime section, we brought another Paragon past 50%, and then when Amber went out, we smacked down Prime and killed him before he could get another Amber off. After Prime, we got Lucid, and the fiery lines really didn't bug us much, so we took the chance to kill off Swarmkeeper and not have to deal with stacking up for aim anymore. Remember, by this point, the buff the remaining bosses are receiving is getting higher and higher. Still though, we didn't choose to kill off Bloodseeker at this point. We killed off Poison Mind, who had just spawned, because the red, blue, yellow catalysts were giving us some trouble. Finally, we took the chance to kill off Bloodseeker, who had a big damage buff at this point, and then moved on to kill Lucid, Manipulator, and Reaver to end the encounter. So yeah, long guide as promised. But there is a lot going on for this fight. Much of it is just an annoyance, but you'll soon see what big mechanics to pay attention to. And the beauty of this fight is that if you don't like a particular mechanic, you can prioritize getting rid of it soon just by choosing your next kill target. You should also make good use of the buffs from the dead Paragons, as they can really turn this encounter easier as you get them. I only had the buff from Swarmkeeper, but it was fun to back up and shoot the boss for 250,000 damage, and then be able to burst him with that damage taken debuff on him. It would be best for you to take a look at your kill order and decide ahead of time who is going to pick up what buff. Once you get that going, you are golden, or should I say you are Amber. Thanks for watching, and please comment, like, and or subscribe to the video if you found it helpful, and have a good one.